At the core of every startup is its founder. The vision, drive, and relentless energy of the founder are often what transform an idea into a company. But that same intensity also carries immense risks. Startup life is high stakes. There is uncertainty at every quarter, pressure from investors, competition breathing down your neck, and the constant struggle to survive long enough to thrive. In this environment, burnout isn't just possible, it's likely. The problem is that many founders treat burnout as a personal weakness, something to be ignored or powered through. In reality, it's neither a weakness nor just a personal issue. It's a business risk. If the founder collapses, the company collapses. Building sustainable success means building sustainable leaders. Founder mental health isn't optional. It's the foundation of company health, team morale, and long term execution. Today, we're going to talk about why mental health matters, the warning signs of burnout, the root causes, strategies to prevent it, and the lessons we can learn from leaders who survived it. Mental health matters in startups because the environment founders operate in is unlike any other. First, it's a high stakes environment. Startup life means extreme uncertainty, relentless pressure, and 80-hour weeks that test every limit. You're managing scarce resources, pivoting constantly, and carrying the weight of your team's future on your shoulders. Second, there's a ripple effect. Your state of mind sets the tone for the entire company. If you're exhausted, anxious, or irritable, that energy cascades into the team. Conversely, if you are balanced and resilient, it inspires calm and confidence in those around you. Third, there's the business risk factor. Burnout leads to poor decisions, short tempers, and team conflict. It can even shut companies down. We often think of financial mismanagement as a top killer of startups, but founder burnout silently causes just as much damage. The truth is simple. Healthy founders build healthy, sustainable companies. Ignoring mental health isn't just dangerous for you, it's dangerous for your business. Recognizing the warning signs of burnout early can save both your sanity and your startup. The first sign is physical and mental exhaustion. You wake up tired, feel drained even after rest, and struggle with motivation. Your body is sending clear signals that it's running on fumes. The second sign is the productivity paradox. You're working longer hours but getting less done. Declining output despite increased effort creates a vicious cycle. You push harder to compensate, but the harder you push, the less effective you become. The third sign is relationship strain. Increased irritability, conflicts with team members, or withdrawal from colleagues who depend on your leadership are all red flags. Burnout doesn't just affect you, it damages trust and collaboration across the team. The fourth sign is the feeling of being trapped. You feel overwhelmed with no way to recharge or step back, even temporarily. It's as though you're locked into a treadmill you can't get off. Burnout creeps in quietly, but if you can identify these patterns early, you can intervene before it becomes catastrophic. Burnout doesn't come from nowhere. It has root causes that can be identified and addressed. The first cause is chronic overwork. Startups glorify hustle culture, but endless late nights and weekends are toxic over time. The lack of rest, boundaries, and sustainable work patterns eventually break down both body and mind. The second cause is external pressure. Investors, customers, and competitors create a constant demand to perform. The always on environment fosters chronic stress, where you never feel safe to step away. The third cause is isolation. Founders often feel they can't share their struggles with the team, with investors, or sometimes even with family. Leadership can be profoundly lonely, and without a safe space for vulnerability, pressure builds unchecked. The fourth cause is identity fusion. When your entire identity is tied 100% to startup success or failure, every setback feels like a personal failure. This fusion creates an unsustainable mental load because there is no separation between the business and the self. Understanding these root causes is the first step in building defenses against them. Burnout is not weakness, it's the predictable result of chronic stressors left unchecked. Sustainable success requires sustainable practices. These strategies protect both your health and your company's future. First, set boundaries. Respect sleep, exercise, and personal time. These are not luxuries, they're necessities for peak performance. A rested brain makes better decisions than an exhausted one. Second, build support systems. Cultivate relationships with mentors, peer founders, and therapists who understand your challenges. You need places where you can share struggles without fear of judgment. Third, delegate early. Avoid the trap of micromanagement. Build systems and trust your team to execute. Founders who try to do everything themselves inevitably burn out. Fourth, prioritize mental health with the same seriousness as financial health. Investors expect you to track burn rate and runway. Treat your own well being with the same discipline. Meditation, therapy, or even just downtime are not indulgences, they're investments in resilience. These practices are not about doing less, they're about sustaining your ability to lead over the long haul. Some of the most successful founders openly admit that their breakthroughs came only after they learned to prioritize resilience over relentless hustle. Evan Williams, co founder of Twitter, once said, I stepped back from day to day operations when I realized I needed perspective to lead effectively. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your company is take care of yourself. His decision to step back temporarily ultimately allowed him to lead with greater clarity. Arianna Huffington famously collapsed from exhaustion. That moment became a turning point where she realized that the culture of burnout isn't sustainable. She has since become one of the leading advocates for rest as a competitive advantage, building an entire movement around well being at work. These leaders remind us that success is not built on endless hustle, it's built on resilience. A sustainable startup requires a sustainable founder. The final truth is this: you cannot pour from an empty cup. Your company's long term success depends not just on strategy, capital, or product. It depends on your ability to lead with clarity, energy, and balance. Founder burnout is not a personal failing, it's a systemic risk that can destroy both leaders and companies. The pressures of startup life are intense, but ignoring mental health only compounds the danger. Recognizing early warning signs like exhaustion, productivity decline, relationship strain, and feeling trapped allows intervention before collapse. Understanding root causes like chronic overwork, external pressure, isolation, and identity fusion helps you build defenses. Coping strategies, setting boundaries, building support systems, delegating early, and prioritizing mental health are essential tools, not optional extras. The stories of Evan Williams and Arianna Huffington underscore the truth. Breakthrough leadership comes not from relentless hustle, but from sustainable resilience. The final takeaway is this: your startup needs you healthy, balanced, and strong. Building a great company starts with building a foundation of well being. Without it, no strategy or funding can save the venture. But with it, you give yourself and your team the best chance of long term success.